Hello everybody! How are my beautiful artists today? Amazing artists we are, right? I am excited to be here. This is my favorite week. I love painting flowers. Like, I have painted flowers since I was a little girl, like 9. Like, love them. And poppies are totally a favorite of mine. I have painted them since middle school when I learned Georgia O'Keeffe painted flowers. And I have painted poppies for forever. So, today we are going to work on Mother's Day cards. We don't have to make a card, so to say, today, but what we can do is practice so when you go to make your Mother's Day card, you're better at it. Okay? So on today, we're going to do our poppies. That's what this is. Today's is our poppies. Okay? I've got 2 cameras going on, so I'll try to be even here. Okay? So we're going to do poppies today, and then on Thursday, we're going to do a little bit of a bouquet, okay? And so we're going to figure out how to put things together and preferably use only 3 colors. Did you hear what I had to say? Use only 3 colors for this card. The primary colors. So that's what we're going to work on Thursday, okay? All right, let's get started. Does anybody have any questions for today? I am watching and I will let you know if I see it. If not, ask it again. But other than that, let's start talking about supplies and stuff, okay? So let's see. We need paper. So I have been thinking about paper. I have went to Michael's, or I looked at Michael's, and they have these watercolor palettes, basically, well, paper pad, right? It is 140 pound. Remember, we've been talking about how heavy paper should be. It's 140 pounds, and there is 24 sheets in this baby, and this was $5. This is a steal of a deal, people. Steal of a deal. So, just wanted to let you know that is something that I bought 3 of these for $5 each. So, that was a really good deal. Know that, so this is the off-brand. This is Michael's. And then there's the fancy kind. And this is Strathmore watercolor. It only has 12 pieces of paper in it. And it is much more expensive than the other kind. So, just know that you can do both. And I wanted to show you what I do with these. I take these pieces of paper, these 9x12s, and I cut them in half. All right? So I cut them in half, just like that. And from there, they become, I'm going to move this out of the way, these pretty little pieces of paper like this. Okay? And then from here, you could fold them and make a card out of them, which is what we're going to do today, I think. Or you can cut those in half and have these little postcard-like type things. And this is what we're going to do our exercise in first. But I wanted to show about how to make an actual card too. They also have something called watercolor greeting cards that you can buy. I think you can even find these at Walmart. I'm not really positive about that, but I know you can. And they come pre-scored. Does anyone know what pre-scored means? Do y'all see that little faint line right there? That means it has a line. So when you actually go to fold it, it doesn't make all kinds of weird creases and stuff. We're going to try to do this today. Bump, bump, bump. But when you buy this pack, you also get envelopes too. Pretty cool. That's what I've been using lately. But today, we are going to work on making our own card. Before we get started with, all right, so that's paper. Let's talk about watercolors. I have all kinds of watercolors here today. So I don't have these open yet, and I'm not going to open them online, but I wanted to test these out to see what the difference was. These are Artist Loft, which is Michael's brand, and this one is 28 colors, and this one is 36 colors. But they almost look like they have different, like their price point was that this one was a little bit more expensive. Now, it had more colors in it, which possibly could be, but these could be brighter than these because this was so much cheaper. All right, now, so these are a great option if you want more colors, and it was cheap, as in like, I think $9.99 and $7.99 or something. I could be completely wrong about that. I don't know. And then my favorite brand is called Angora. And I buy this off of dickblick.com, or Amazon also carries this. And this is a 14, but they also have 28 and 36 also in this. And these are one of my favorites. Okay? You can have these little baby ones like this. This is called a travel one. And I absolutely love these travel ones. This is a Winsor Newton. This can be quite expensive. And then today, I think I'm going to use a koi watercolor set, just because I want to try something new, and I just love these yummy colors. But honestly, we're going to stick to only a few of these little colors. I want to prove to you all that we can make pretty watercolors with not a lot of color. Okay? You're going to need a paper towel. You're going to need a paintbrush. This is called a watercolor mop brush. It is really, really soft. It is almost like, I think it's squirrel hair. I'm not sure. But it's gone through a lot with me. It's not that expensive, but it is one of my favorite brushes. And it's about 1/4 inch. I don't know if I'm going to cheat or not, but I may get this little baby tiny brush right here. This is a Simply Simmons brush. It's a 2, and it's a round, and you can buy these also at Michael's, but these are some of my favorite brushes. You're going to need some paper, some water. I have this fancy dancy little thing here. You want to keep your water relatively clean, and some people actually like have 2 watercolor water bottles with them, so they can actually have one for dirty water and one for clean water. All right, you're going to need a pencil. If you're using a pencil, make sure the eraser works. If it doesn't, then I love kneaded erasers. This is my favorite thing in the world. When it gets dirty, all you got to do is squish it like this, and it cleans itself. It also doesn't make those terrible messes that everybody else messes. You know, like when you erase. I can't stand that. Okay? I also like a fancy pen. So my fancy pen is called a Uniball Signo. I'm pulling it over there. Y'all see that? Uniball Signo. It's 207 bold. 207 bold. I buy these everywhere. I love them. All right. I think we're ready to get started. Anybody got any questions? Okay. One of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of those pieces of paper that I've made in half. I'm working on making a card, right? So I need to figure out how to half this nice and smooth. Because remember, a card is already pre-scored. And that is what I'm trying to get us to duplicate. So how do we do this? They actually have special score thingies. It's an actual tool. Of course, it looks like this. And it's double-ended with these little things on it. And it's just a little point, a metal point. All right. And this is fancy. You don't have to have this though. Okay. I want to show you what you can use instead. So I want to half this. And I'm going to just cheat real quick. And I know that this is half. So I'm going to go ahead and mark a little half. Y'all see that? Half here half here. Now it's just a little tiny one, right? Okay, now I need a straight line or a ruler. Teacher was definitely not prepared to do this. Don't you love it when the teacher is not prepared? Kind of winged this last minute on this little card thing. I think everyone should learn how to do this. So I have a straight edge. This is a ruler, and I'm coming in here. Now, what would happen is that this score thing, this score stylus, I think it's called a stylus, would come in and we would do this with it, all right? Now, you may not have this. You could use a pencil, but you're going to leave a mark. I don't really want to do that. You could use a pen that doesn't have any ink. Or I have these kitchen skewers, you know, like shish kebabs. And so I'm going to try this. Now, I have never done this. You're watching it live, people. So I hold down with my left hand this, and I hold the stylus or the shish kebab, and I am going to push down. So I'm pushing down really hard, and I'm doing it 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? And y'all see that? It made a dent. That's kind of what I'm going for. Okay, with that being said, now I'm going to fold it over. All right? When you fold it over, do you see how pretty that fold is right there? None of that weird stuff that we've been having when we fold. So I'm holding it with my left hand in the middle here. And there's another tool. This, I honestly don't know what this is called. I have no idea. But it's something flat. You want to make sure that it's clean. You could use a clean edge of a pen, or this is just plastic. I would not use a pencil that has color on it, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stay here in the middle. I'm going to go straight down in the middle, and then I'm going to hit it and go out, and hit it and go out. And this is why you need it clean. Boom, boom, boom. Teacher didn't have it clean. But do you see how pretty that is? That fold is beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right, so that is how we would make a card folded with a beautiful little edge. So I am now going to, what am I going to do? We're going to do a little bit of, yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and just straight draw. What do y'all say? Just straight draw? I had a feeling y'all would say that. Okay, so this is what we're going to draw today. Let's just say that our folding technique was part of our exercise. Will y'all let me get away with that? Maybe. All right, so I guess I could use this card. I will say, when I'm drawing on cards that are folded like this, I like to actually draw on them with it flat, because it's easier to actually manipulate, because sometimes it doesn't sit flat. Okay, are we ready? But I also don't want y'all to get confused, so I'm going to just do it with one card. Okay. Here we go. Are we ready? Now, I want you to not, like if you're using a pencil and you know that you're going to erase, I want you to draw really lightly. So don't draw as dark as me, okay? Draw lightly. That's very, very important. All right, so what we're going to work on here is we're going to work on the shapes of these. Do you see how it's basically a circle? This one is basically an oval. And this one I'm going to just call a glob. All right? So we're going to do that same thing. And notice that it's in threes. So I am going to ghost draw first. So I have a clean finger, and I'm going to come in here, and my arm is off the table, and I am just using my shoulder. I'm using my whole shoulder as one whole thing, and I'm going to do some circles. Gets my arm in shape. Now I'm going to sit here and I'm going to draw my circle. Okay? So we have a big circle. Now I'm going to draw my other circle. So this one, I'm going to have a little bit close to this one, and I'm going to do an oval shape. So I'm practicing, and then what we're going to do is we're going to come in here, and we're going to do that right there. All right, y'all see that? Then I'm going to add this glob one up here at the top right-hand corner, okay? So this one, I'm sort of ghosting, but not really. I'm going to come in here and do something like that. Okay, the big thing about flowers is that we've got to have stems. Like, it's kind of important, right? Okay, so when we have stems, I want us to, I'm going to start with this one over here to the left first. And I'll tell you this about poppies. Poppies are kind of, woo, they're not straight lines. So they're kind of curved in places. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm going to make a curved line. And that's one. All right, y'all see that really good, kind of, hopefully. Then I'm going to come here on this one right here, and I'm going to make it go behind this circle here, okay? So I'm coming in and I am going to make kind of a triangle there. You'll see that? And then I'm going to come in and make a nice skinny line all the way down. Okay? Now this one right here, I'm just going to say come straight down like that. Now, do you all see that poppies have these little pod things? So we're going to draw some of these pods. Okay? You get to figure out how many pods you actually have. Okay? So we're going to just see. This one's getting a little, what's the word for it? Crowded. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to, a pod is a circle kind of with a little triangle on top of it. So I'm coming in and I'm going to make, they're smaller. It almost looks like a little fish. Y'all see that? And then I'm going to come in and make that happen. This one here, I think I'm going to make it go like this. So he is coming down like that. And he has a bent. And you see how he went bent? Did y'all see how I got real quiet? You gotta love it when the teacher goes quiet, means she's concentrating really hard. Okay, you know, I might leave it at that. I had another one in here, but I don't think I'm going to put it in here for this. Okay, so we have some circles. These are our big flowers, so we've got to add some petals to it, okay? Now, here's the thing with petals. Petals are just real big triangles almost, but they also are shaped different, so you get to actually choose what you want to do with this. I'm going to start with this oval one, all right? With here, I'm going to start with my center, that black part that is always in the center of poppies. Wherever you put this depends on how open your poppy is, okay? So I'm going to put this one kind of towards the bottom here. And you see it's not perfect either. It's kind of round and odd looking. And all right, this one over here at the bottom, I'm going to put a little off center here. Just like that. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually divide out some petals. So one thing that I like to do is I just put like, you just have to start it. Start with a line. And then from here, I'm going to curve that line and I'm going to hit this side over here. You see that? Now this one, I'm going to do the same thing. this one is going to touch this line, and I'm going to go ahead and this one's going to be shaped just like that. And he's going to be shorty. And this one over here is going to be a nice wide one. Kind of looks like a fan, doesn't it? And this one right here, I'm actually going to make it point up and then round. Now, what I'm going to try to do is make this one right here come in front of all of these back ones. That's why it's shaped a little different. Okay? All right, we're going to do something similar with this one over here. So on this one, I'm going to start, right? What was the first step that I did with starting? I did just a straight line. So I'm going to go just a straight line. Then I'm going to draw another straight line. And I'm going to then curve these petals just like that. I'm going to start another straight line. And I'm going to bend it over just like that. This one here is going to be, I'm going to have some space in this one. You see that? And I'm going to go right in here. And this one, I'm going to go ahead and make it that same shape. But here's what I'm going to add something. I'm going to add a little petal that it's curling in. It's folding over. So in order to do that, I'm just going to add that little shape right there. And you know what? I think I'm going to do the same with this one. Yeah, I'm adding some complex stuff in here, people. Look at us. We're going to be pros. Okay. As for this one right here, I am going to just add a line like that. Then I think I'm going to make a dip like that. Nothing real special for this one. We're barely seeing him. All right, so here we go. What we're doing now is we're going to paint. Yippee! If you have drawn really, really dark, now's your chance. You come in with an eraser and you start erasing some of your lines. Now, I'm going to do that. One, I don't want y'all to get confused. We don't want that, do we? And two, well, I have a lot of sketchy lines, right? Like, that's one of the things I like about art, is that you don't have to be perfect in order to do this. Did y'all hear that, everybody? You don't have to be perfect to do art. You can just pick up and go. I've been doing some research on some Bob Ross, and one of the things he said was, well, what did he say? If you practice, you could probably make a Mona Lisa. But one of the other things was, oh, I don't really know what it was. I'll come up with it in a minute. Okay, we first have to activate our watercolors. How do we activate our watercolors? One of the things that you can do if you don't have a spray bottle, I like to cheat with a spray bottle and just go choop choop. Choop 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 choop. Okay? If you don't have that, then this is what you're going to do. So I'm going to pull this out like this, and I'm going to put my paintbrush in my water. Then I'm going to put it in my color. And then I'm going to wipe it on my paper towel. Put it in the color, put it on the paint, paper towel. Color, paint, paper towel. Water, paint, paper towel. Water, paint, paper towel. You're going to do that for all of the ones that you're going to use. Or you can sit there and do all of them. I don't really care. All right. So here's what I'm going to do first. I'm going to try to practice with not a lot of water today. Now, I don't say that very often. I want everyone to hear what I just said. I don't say it very often. I'm going to see if I can't get it. How's the best? Yeah, that'll kind of work. All right. So here we go. I'm going to put water on my brush, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to get me some red. And I'm going to come in. Oh, that's yummy. And I'm going to paint each one of these. Now, one of the things I want you to do is I want you to be careful, and I want you to try not to like make a big blob, right? So, you see how I'm not painting on my lines? I'm going all the way around it very, very slowly and nice, okay? So I'm going to do that with every single one of these. All right, so I'm coming in and I'm adding it. Another thing that Bob Ross said. Now, Bob Ross didn't paint many flowers. He painted landscapes, right? But he said, if you do too much, it's going to lose its effectiveness. So one of the things I've learned here is that's why I don't have a lot of water on my brush. I can control it better. And two is that we don't want to overdo this part either, because watercolors is nothing but layers. Layer, 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 layer. So I'm coming in and I'm just going to paint some. And if we have it too wet right now, when we go back to add our second layer, it'll all blend. And that's why we don't want that much water on our brush right now. So I'm coming in and I've added this. Okay. Now, here we go. Next step. We were working in layers, remember? So I'm washing off my brush. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my green layer. Okay? So I'm going to try to stay away from this red completely. It's just green. So go pick a green. If you don't have green, go with yellow. So I'm coming in with my green. And I'm going to just come in and I'm going to paint these green. Now, did you see that? That goes in between that flower right there. I'm going to paint the pods. I'm going to come around. Now, do you all see that I don't have a little baby brush here? I'm just doing this with my normal big brush, whatever. I normally start every painting with a big brush. One, it gets you to loosen up. That's important. You gotta be loose. Because you can't take this so serious. It's not meant to be serious. All right, and I'm going to just add that right there. Now, I'm feeling pretty good about that. That's looking pretty good. Okay, I'm cleaning off my brush. And I'm going to work on the middles. Now this one right here in the left-hand corner or the right-hand corner doesn't have we don't see it, right? So we've got to do it inside this part right here. One of the things I'm going to probably do, I'm not going to go with black yet. I'm going to stick with brown. But I probably will get to black. But if you don't have it, just go with black right now. So I'm getting, and I'm just adding a little bit of brown right there in the middle. Same thing with this one. Now, do you see how this one is overlapping a little bit? It's following the shape of that right there. Well, that's because this is in front of that, right? We want it to overlap. Okay. Layer 1 is complete. What do y'all think? Okay, Barb, I can't wait to see what you've done. Barb's saying that she's going to do this later. I can't wait to see them later. All right, and I want to see everybody's work. You know how I love that. So you post after this and you tell me. Okay, here's what I'm going to do next. I want us to talk about what's next to red. Red is a primary color, right? So look at these colors that are next to red. We've got some orange, we have red orange, we have some red violet, and some purple, right? So these are next to red. So I'm actually going to try to get some orange. I'm coming in and I'm going to find my orange. If you don't have orange, you're going to use yellow. So I've got me some orange. I'll get to yellow it eventually probably. And I'm going to just add a few places. Now, if it's wet and I'm doing this, it's going to blend very similar to that right there. When I go back to my orange, I want to wipe off my brush and get some more water. You got to be clean while you're doing watercolors. And I'm doing the top of each one of these, really. Did y'all see how the top of this one is right there next to the brown? It's not at the, you know, the very end here. I want you to pay attention to that. This top of this petal is right here. And right here. All right? See how I'm changing that up? This one is here and this one is here. We're working on how we're getting our tops. And just a little bit on those. All right. I'm going to come, that's layer 1 of my reds, is my orange. Next, I'm going to go into my greens. So, here I am going to go with my green. I'm going to go with yellow because look at this. Your green is right beside your yellow and your blue, right? So we're going to start with yellow. We're going to take our yellow. Any yellow will do. I'm going to go with this one and see what happens. And I'm going to just add it to these things. Now, do you see I'm not doing a completely straight line. I'm just adding it in places. Lightly. You don't want to overdo it. You lose its effectiveness. That might be the best quote ever of Bob Ross. I mean, oh my goodness. All right. Now, I'm going to come back to my centers and I'm going to get some more brown. And I'm going to come in and I'm going to put a little clump of it in half. Do y'all see that? Half. This one, I kind of went and divided it into 3 parts. You see that? Dark, light, dark. All right. Now we have 2 layers complete. Whoop, whoop. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our reds. This time we're going to go darker. Now, depending on your palette, this is our darkers. Our darker reds, right? It's a red violet. We're getting into some maybe blue, that kind of thing. So, if you don't have a purple or a dark pink or something like that, come in here and go with purple or blue, all right? I promise it'll work. If that scares you to death, go with a brown. And you're like, what? All right, let's watch this for a minute. I think I am going to go into one of these darker red colors that I have. So see, I'm going along with it's added a little bit of blue to it. And here I am. I'm going to start down at the bottom of these. And I'm going to add some darks. Just like that. And sometimes it's a whole lot and sometimes it's just a little. I'm on this one here, remember, it's curving up. So the bottom of this one is down here. And I'm just adding a simple little line. Same thing with this. Do you see how I'm adding, like I'm painting? I'm not doing one whole big area, right? Like it's like, sometimes I'm blending, but not always. Okay, now what do we do with this one up here? We are going to come down here to the bottom and we're going to add just like that. All right, that's layer 3. Very simple. We're now going to go to our blues in our greens, right? So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to get a dark green now. So that's because I have another dark green. If you don't have a dark green, use some blue. And I'm going to just put it every once in a while in this area. Now, one of the reasons I made it dark next to this one right here, is because wherever it's going behind somewhere, it should probably be dark. So that's next to the petals, so whichever color you want, or if it's behind something, it's darker. Just a good way to kind of make that look darker. Okay. All right, that's good. Now, we're going to go back to the middles. So this middle, believe it or not, I think I'm going to take that same dark green that I had, and I'm going to add it to that dark spot. You see how that almost made that black? Uh-oh, bleeding, bleeding, bleeding. Mayday, mayday, mayday. All right, so this is bleeding. Y'all see that? It's moving. It really doesn't bother me that much, but I know you all probably might be freaking out. So if I'm bleeding, I have a very dry paper towel and a very dry brush. Like, I wipe it off, I pinch it off, it's pretty dry. And what I do here, where it's bleeding, is I come in really easy. And Bob has a quote for this too. It's, be so very light, just like a whisper. He has another one. Ready? It says, use absolutely no pressure, just like angel wings. Can't y'all hear him say that? Okay, and you see how that cleaned that right up? Okay, now we got to go back to our flowers. You see this? Do you see a pattern? We're building up on layers over and over and over again. Okay, so one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to keep working with the darks. All right, I don't want to get any, I don't want to add anything to the lights. So this time, remember I said if you had a brown, I'm going to go with one of my dark browns. It's a red brown, honestly. It's not really a dark brown. And I'm going to come to these two right here, which are curved under, right? So with it being curved under, I'm going to start next to the center. And I'm going to add a few dots. And I'm going to let that sink in and move the way ever it's going to move. I'm going to do that over here on this one too. I'm going to stay by that right there. And I may come in and do that whole thing that way. You see how I'm making it darker? Now, since I have this dark, I'm not going to do that over here to these, but I am going to do another one over here to this big one here. So I get to pick a petal that I want really deep, right? So I'm going to say I want this one right here deep. So I'm adding my brown. Now, do you all see that we've added brown, but it still looks red? This is a key to blending with watercolors. Because, there, I've done it to only those three. You see how I'm adding that? Because we don't have to make it, like the watercolor is a bunch of layers. It's transparent so you can see through it. That's why we're doing it that way. Instagram, my battery is low. I'm trying to see if I can't get you some more battery juice. Hopefully you stay with me. If not, head over to Facebook and you'll see it. I also post this on my home page on my website. All right. Okay, I've gone brown. I'm back to greens, right? Now, I'm almost done with greens. I don't want to overdo greens too much. Now that I say that, I think I am done with greens. Now, does everyone notice how much green I actually have on this thing? I do that the last step. So I'm coming back to my colors on my flowers though, all right? I think I want to make some purple now. So what makes purple? Anybody know? There's red, there's blue, there's purple. So we're gonna get a little bit of blue. Remember I said we're gonna use some blue? All right, I'm gonna come in with some blue and I'm gonna come into where this dark area is. And now that was a lot. So what I'm doing is I'm coming in with some water now. I've washed off my brush. I've come in with some water. And I'm going to come in and I'm just going to hit this a little bit. And you see how it's blending it? I'm going to do it right here. Now the reason I'm picking on these two flowers is because they're behind everything. All right. I'm going to come in. I might add a little bit over here. Now I'm picking and choosing. I'm not doing it everywhere. Just picking. Coming over here to this one. Adding a little bit. And all right. I'm going to come into this bottom half. You see how I'm actually stealing blue from that down there, and I'm adding it to this one. I have not yet gone back for more blue there. Now, one of the things that I'm going to do next is actually go into some red again. So I'm coming into some red one more time. It's a little red, so I've got to like, well, what's the word? It's a little wet, so we're going to have to see what we can do here. But when I add that red down one more time, I'm going to stay away from those top edges because I want those light. But you see when I add the red to this, it starts blending really nice. And adding this really nice red color to it. All right, now, and I'm adding that. Now that's really sharp. So I take some water in that area and I just dab it, and you see how that made that go. Okay, the only thing that I see that I really need to work on here is to make these centers darker. So I'm going to come in with my black like I said I was going to do. So I've got some water on my brush coming into my black, and now I'm going to hit that with some black. I'm still not trying to make this whole circle black though. I'm staying with that one little area. Okay, now, here's what I'm going to do next. Because I do want to cheat just a little, I'm getting my little baby brush. So my little baby brush, because this is real nice and wet, I'm coming in and I'm pulling this stuff up so it makes it look like it has veins in it. Now, it might work, it might not work, but it is making, it's adding a little bit of texture, it's adding a little bit of shading to it. Right, now I may take some of this, add a little bit to this side right here, but not much. All right, I do think I am going to add a little bit more green though. So I'm going to continue with my little baby brush, but you don't have, if you have a big one, it's not a big deal. So I'm going to take a green. I'm going to add, so one of the things I do about mixing colors when I'm scared of them, so like I put my green, I put it in my green, and I go, ugh. So I put it on my palette like this, and I go get some water, and I get a little bit like that. Every time you add water to a color, you're making it a little bit lighter. That's what we're going to go for. So now I'm actually coming in and I'm going to start making some grass. Now, it doesn't have to even go all the way down. It can go behind. It can go, it does not matter. You see how when I add that all over the place like this, we're adding just a little. One of the things that this works well with is because is that green and red are complementary colors. Anybody know what that means? So complementary colors are opposite of the color wheel. Red and green. When you put them next to each other, basically what happens is it makes everything brighter. That's why you want to do that. All right, people, I'm liking this. I've added my yellow. I've added my reds. I've added my darks. I think I now need it to actually dry a little bit. If you are still working, just keep working. I'm going to hit mine with a dryer real quick. One of the things I think I want to work on is I think I need to make a few things lighter. Anybody know how to do that after the fact? It's kind of that erase technique that I had, which is you put some water on your brush. You're going to come in here. I want to make this part right here drier. Okay, so I'm putting some water on it. I'm now washing and cleaning my brush out. I'm really drying it out. And then I'm coming here and I'm scooping it up. Now this only works a few times, depending on how good your paper is. So I'm going to come in and I'm making this mark, and now I'm wiping it off and I'm coming in, and it makes just a little hint of something lighter. Right, so I clean off my brush and I come in here. Oh, now that was work. One of the other things that Mr. Bob said is that you have to have darks in order to see light. And if we have two darks right here, then you're not going to be able to tell. You want high contrast. And that's what I'm trying to work on right there. Okay, I think that helps me feel better. Now, anybody got any questions while I'm doing this? We are going to now do my black pen, because, you know, I gotta have my black pen in there. Some people think that the black pen is just a little too much, that it flattens your work, and sometimes they're right. I don't take a black pen to my portraits that I do of pets and stuff, because they're kind of more realistic. But things like this, it's just fun to play with the pen a little bit and to doodle. So you need to make sure this is completely dry. I want you to also notice that I left some things unpainted. That gives your poppies room to breathe and make them bright. So one of the things that I do, I want you to look at this real quick. I make these squiggles because poppies do have squiggles. They are not perfect by any means. They have these big fold things to them, and they're just so much fun. So I'm coming in and I'm adding just this little texture to all of this. You'll see how I go fast. One of the reasons I go fast is I don't want you to think about it too much, that's for sure. And I haven't messed with my centers too much. I'm just dealing with petals right now. Okay, now I'm going to come in and do a few of these. And I'm not going to do too much with these stems. I don't want people to be looking at all this stem stuff. I want them to be looking at my flowers. So one of the things that I like to do with my centers of them is I like to make dots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And do you notice I come outside of the black center because it's showing that there's some dimension in here, okay? So I kind of make them a little crazy and go outside the center. All right, I'm going to zoom in. Y'all see that? All right, so another thing that I like to do is to like kind of sketch. And when I say sketch, I'm going to shade a little bit. So I add a little bit down here at the bottoms to make sure that those look like they are coming out from the bottom. Now this one is rolling in, right? So its bottom is up here, down here. This one gets a little bit, and y'all know that I say if you do it messy the first time, it kind of looks like you did that on purpose. And that's kind of what we're going for here, right? We don't want to, and I'm going to add only on the dark side of these am I adding some shading to. All right. And I just add a little bit there. And another thing that I like to do real quick is I like to add some squiggles. Now, I know squiggles like freak everybody out. One of the things with squiggles that I like to do is I like to, well, I didn't do it then. Never mind. I was gonna say I always start at like where things connect and then do a squiggle, but I didn't do that there, so that's not true. Okay, I think we're looking good, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you do a poppy, not potty. I don't need to go potty. Do you need to go potty? I don't. But poppies. And make sure you sign it. And of course, I would love to see what you've got. So send me well, at the bottom of this video in Facebook, I would love for you to show me what you've done. And if you're Instagram, direct message me. And give it to your mother on Mother's Day, right? Make a series of these things. Aren't those pretty? Oh, they're so pretty. Poppies are my favorite. Now, this is what we're doing on Thursday. And I wanted to let you all know that right now I'm doing some custom dog portraits or pet portraits. So if you are wanting some, you can direct message me or message me, and notice I don't have an outline underneath that. Yep. Okay? I will see you all later. I'll see you Thursday. Bye, guys.